Great Battles of American Revolution is a well-established series. I had the pleasure and real fun of familiarizing myself with this series thanks to my buddy Janek. And I'm really surprised how each game in the series is different. I believe this is thanks to the really superb preparation by the series designer, so Mark Miklos, who is working with other, designers on the particular games and themes. What I will be doing today is presenting to you the game which is volume 8 in the Great Battles of the American Revolution series. This is a game about let's say battles which were involving Indians during this Revolutionary War, and it's actually an installment which will have two games. One is Newtown, and the other one is Oriskany. The Newtown is the main battle which is featured by this volume, and Oriskany is a small ambush battle. However, both of them are pretty small when you look at the sizes of battles. In Newtown, you would have around, I don't know, 3,000 Americans, and I don't know, several hundreds of loyalist British and Indians. In Oriskany, you would have even smaller number. The maximum what the Americans will have is like 800, and the British are of similar size. This is a specific installment in that case, that while we have of course the general rules which are applicable for each and every game in the system, here we have a lot of new additions. This is not something uncommon for the series, but here we will have a lot of rules for Indians, and especially in Newtown it will be clearly visible. So what I will do today, I will show you the components, explain some of the rules, victory conditions, and will leave you with, I hope, a taste to learn more of the actual gameplay. So the game was published in 2013. We are getting a beautiful card which says that who packed this game here. And then we will have two die, one for the Americans, the other for the British and Indians, and then we have some baggies. I will definitely go a little more into the historical details when I will be showing you the map, because on the map you can also depict some of the things which were happening there. So what do we have? As always, we will have two rule books. One is a series rulebook, the other is exclusive rulebook. The series rulebook changes a bit from time to time. There are some updates to this, but let's be honest, it's more or less coined out at this moment in time. This is a version of course from February 2013, but future next installments got it a bit updated. What is really important are those exclusive rulebooks which bring all the rules. And while this series rulebook have like 12 pages, this one will have 28. Of course, also because you have two games there. The rulebook goes just like other games, system games like Multiman Publishing Battalion Combat Series or Standard Combat Series, through some basics like what we have, what kind of components do we have, how the artillery, militia looks like. Militia is always, kneeling, light infantry, dragoons, rifle equipped units, also how we have leaders depict, close combat, leadership diagram, and movement allowance. Here key terms explained. The sequence of play, which is basic sequence of play, and it varies from game to game. It's kind of an I go, you go system. However, there's a twist with the initiative segment. In some of the games, you have predefined initiative for some turns, usually not for all turns. In some games, you simply roll a die, but you modify it with your morale, with the army morale. And I believe while casualties might be high during those battles, morale was of much bigger importance in this times here. Stacking, usually maximum 6 strength points of the units can be together. We have zones of control, which are interesting, not so typical. As you can see, zone of control is in the empty terrain, clear terrain, but not in the harsh terrain. However, the light units, which of course know how to penetrate the woods, for example, will have zone of control in such a terrain. Movement, rifle fire, which is a separate, completely separate, let's say, phase in the game, will allow those well-equipped, units, few of them, to fire at the enemy. There will be defensive artillery fire also. Close combat, also pretty typical. It's going through the whole procedure. I will not be going in details here. That's not the case. What is important, the close combat will be augmented by the tactics sheets or tactic cards, from Pensacola. So I believe previous volume we have already tactics sheets which are being used here for the purpose of trying to outmaneuver your opponent. Then we have combat results, retreat, disruption, losses. Of course, as I told you, there's a lot of moral effects. A bit about the leaders, army morale. If we have the whole player aids which are showing us when the army morale goes up, when it goes down. And at the end we would have expanded sequence of play. So very briefly through the series rulebook, because it's almost always the same. What is much more important and interesting is the exclusive rulebook, and this rulebook will cover 2 games, as I told you. These are battles with the Iroquois Confederacy in Western New York. This Indian tribe allied themselves to a large extent with the British and with the Loyalists. So, for example, Newtown, the Battle of Newtown, was an expedition by the American forces into Iroquois territory to maybe not punish them, but to try to inflict as much damage as possible so they are not a threat. And Newtown will have very interesting, victory conditions, because as an American player, you will be getting automatic victory if you burn down Newtown. So yeah, this is pretty interesting. What do we have? First of all, we'll have explanation of what type of units we'll have, or in Oriskany and Newtown. As always, almost always in this system, you have some replacement counters to the previous games. Not because there are some huge errors, but usually because the new materials, new information appeared about some particular units, regiments, leaders, and they are being implemented into the actual gameplay. Yeah, so this is Newtown, exclusive rules, it's like 15 pages. What is important here? Indians will have a lot of special rules in this game, and their movement will be led by the cheat pool mechanism. They were not so well coordinated, and they oftentimes acted of their own free will and out of the urge to battle. So this will be very, very important. In Newtown, the Indians can achieve victory by simply killing Americans, 7 strength points of American combat units, except artillery. Americans' decisive victory is destroy every Newtown hex, as I told you. And they destroy it by occupying at the beginning of their movement phase the Newtown hexes. I believe there are like 3 hexes. Marginal victory would be on victory points. Yeah, now very important series rules variations. There will be some leaders, but this is not so important. Interesting thing is that we'll have cattle herd. Yes, you heard it well. We'll have cattle herd here in the game. We will have also pretty limited American intelligence. Well, yeah, that's how it was. Strategic movement is significantly reduced. Yes, combat considerations. Now, special rules. Destroying Newtown Town, I told you how to do it. Opportunity cards, these are new cards which are introduced by this volume. Both sides have like one card, and then Americans can, get additional opportunity card by getting rid of some momentum cheats, which allows you to take over initiative. And I believe loyalist Indians can get it only one additional card during the game. I will show you them in a moment. Now, Indian rules. There are like 4 pages of Indian rules. We'll have Indian honor, which will be, impacting the Indian morale. We will have Indian player movement phase. So we'll be drawing the cheats during the Indian movement phase to see which tribes are activated. When the Americans move, and then at the end of a turn, the ones which were not drawn will also be able to move. We'll have Indian sortie, exactly. So this will show their flexibility. There will be Indian resolve. This is when artillery fires at them. There are some additional interesting one. Indian ambush. Exactly, so they will be also able to ambush the Americans. Indian retreat before combat. During the Indian player close combat phase, after all close combat are designed, the attacking Indian player is allowed to retreat before combat. So they can see, okay, the odds are not so good, let's not do it. They also can withdraw if they are not attacked by the light infantry and they are in some types of the terrain, and they also can evade. So when they need to retreat and there is no space, they will overstack and be killed. They can move through this. So there is a lot of those rules. This game by themselves is not overly difficult, but you would need to remember all of those stuff. And you have special units. Cattle herd is one of the special units. Historical scenario and the designation, and then we will have historical summary of Battle of Newtown, and we'll have order of battle. Oriskany is a small additional game to this volume, like an add-on, and this is about the ambush which was prepared by Indians and by the British on the column, which was supposed to relieve a besieged fort, an American besieged fort. This was one of the bloodiest battles in the whole American Revolutionary War, because Americans lost 50% of their total force and the loyalists like 15%. So the percentage-wise, it was one of the most bloody battles. You will be designating as a British before the game a blocking hex in front of which there will be an ambush. Then, depending on the zone in which it will be, you will be rolling a die, moving your units, and trying to destroy the column. This is pretty quick scenario and pretty quick game, but can be really interesting. So Herkimer was leading this relief column and trying to relieve the besieged forces. Here's the maybe not the complicated but detailed way of explaining how the ambush is being prepared, how it's being resolved. Fort Stanwix was the fort which was besieged by the Indians and by the loyalists. I believe when I show you the map, it would be the best way to do it. Yeah, there could be a storm, Indian withdrawal, units, and historical summary, and order of battle. Here are the counters. This is a low counter density game, and even for this will be one battle, this will be second battle. So very few counters in Newtown game. Now we will have 2 player aids, as I told you. One for Newtown. What you always have is how the adjustment of morale for the army works. What is the victory point schedule? Terrain effects charts. You will have terrain also on the map, and then all the close combat DRMs, all tactics matrix, depending what you played, and close combat table results. This will be not different in the presentation for Oriskany. However, the values will be slightly different, of course, for the army morale. The limbering and lagering supply wagons will give some relief, respite to the Americans, who will be able to defend behind them. Victory point schedule, terrain effects chart, and then similarly close combat modifiers, tactics matrix, and close combat table. Then we have counters. These are typical great battles of American history counters. This will be for Newtown. See, not too many British, mainly Indians. And this will be the Americans. This is Oriskany, many more British. The Indians, the column, yeah. There's not too many Americans here. These are the ambush, special ambush counters. Of course, disruption, destroyed, these are typical things here. And these are the replacement counters. Germantown, Saratoga, I see, yeah. So Pensacola, they will be used to augment the previous games. Honor, which is being tracked here. Nice. Cards, yeah, we have some cards here. And where is my card opener? Because I really need it in order to open the cards. I think I put it here. Give me a second, guys. Yes, I got it. So we will have tactics cards here, which can be used instead of cheats. And I think they have not put tactics cheats at all here. Good. If we have cards, it's good to save space for some additional counters. So let us open those cards. We have opportunity cards for both sides, and we have tactics cards for both sides. So this will be Indian and Loyalist. Play anytime, -1 to American more army morale. It's pretty self-explanatory. Warcry, play during enemy rally, -1 DRM to 1 rally die roll. Very nicely done. And for the Americans, we'll also have some Bionic Charge. Close combat +1 DRM. Fifes and drums, play during friendly rally, +1 DRM to 1 rally die roll. These are not game changers, let's say. Still, they can nicely be used when the time arises. These are the typical frontal assault, turn flank, attack echelon. Both sides have those. And depending of what one side plays and the other, sometimes you need a leader. There could be different results. So if we attack and do the tactics turn flank, and we are met by the attack echelon, we would have -1, yeah, if attack echelon is defending. So this is a small twist in this game, and we got used to it after so many plays. Now, what I wanted to show you is the map. The map is beautiful, and I will also be able to very quickly, tell you the historical background of both battles, or at least what was happening there. So let me start with a Newtown. So we have two belligerents, Major General John Sullivan, who was sent for this punitive expedition, and we have here Joseph Brandt, Mohawk. So these are small battles. There's plenty of space on those maps, actually. Here we will have the map legend. Here we have pre-game Indian enhancement table, which changes some dynamics of the game. Here we will have the morale track, very important for this game turn track. Here we have the sequence of play, and as I told you, this is a pretty specific sequence of play because you have American player turn, Indian standard movement, activation, rally, final movement. So they have this additional movement if they were not activated. What happened historically is Americans entered from here. They were pretty much delayed by those marshes. The Indians and loyalist British were defending here, although they were infiltrating a lot. So if Indian at any point during the game crosses this creek, they will get additional opportunity card. So this is, there is not much, how to say, maneuverability here. There is this road, which, crosses along the marshes. There is possibility to go this way, but it will take much more time, and I'm not sure if it will be within game turn still. Here is the Newtown, which have free spaces, and if those free spaces are burned, simply the Americans will win. Indians retreat toward this hex, like here. Americans, retreat here. Let's see now the ambush scenario. Even smaller map, if you look from the perspective of the hexes. So here we have, beautiful picture of the Battle of Oriskany. Here we have sequence of play, British player, American player, ambush turn sequence, specific for ambush, game turn track, army morale, a lot of fortifications. Here we have fort, hornwork, and some additional ones. So what do we see on the map? First of all, we see Fort Stanwix. Here are the Americans, and they are defending on those two hexes. Here we have British HQ, here we have Loyalist camp, here we have light infantry camp, and here we have camps of the Indians. So Seneca camp, Cayuga camp, Mohawk camp, Scalping Tree, all this stuff. And where is the relief column? The relief column starts from here and will be going through all this path here, up to the Fort Stanwix. Here is the area of the actual ambush, brutal and really effective ambush. During the game, at the beginning, the British player will mark one of those hexes here as a blocking hex. When this column, which has to move automatically every turn, they have two types of movement. One impacts the morale, but the ambush is less severe. They move simply slowly and cautiously. The other is much quicker, so to get to the fort quicker, but the ambush will be more severe. So whenever they enter this hex, which is blockade hex, the British player shows the card, saying, okay, this is my hex of a blockade, I will be attacking you. And depending on the zone, zones are described, so pieces of this road, they roll a die, some things happen, and then after this, the battle starts. Rifle battle, close combat battle, and so on. As for the victory conditions, Fort Stanwix is a victory condition for the British. For Americans, this light infantry camp and the column not being destroyed. I think the wagons have to survive for the Americans to have a decisive victory. There are also smaller, levels of victory, like VPs and so on. But of course, what is most important is the decisive victory. Okay, guys, that will be all about Newtown. Volume 8 in the Great Battles of American Revolution by Mark Miklos, and Oriskany is a bonus game by Don Hale. I really wanted to show you this another installment in the series. Completely different perspective in each and every, volume. In Pensacola we have Spaniards and French fighting British. In Germantown, we had a huge battle between Americans and the British, where the unexperienced, army of Washington unfortunately failed. Here we have fights with the Indians, both punitive American expedition and also the ambushes which were done by them. So I'm really, stunned how varied this system is and how much fun it simply gives. That will be all, guys, for today. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you for watching. I really hope that you like it. If so, please give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like this, kindly please subscribe. Also, use the comment section below this material to ask, to comment, to share your opinion, and simply to chat with me. Thank you once again for being with me, and see you soon.